morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever and wherever you listen to this series of knowledge is from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. We're back, as Rick says, many 5 times. And I hope when I finish, there's somebody else who will carry it to 4 5s instead of 3 5s. Teaching of the universe never finishes, and whoever claims knows all of it has to link itself back to the Creator. Something which we taught in the past few weeks, and we expand for knowledge gets to understand more, is connection of the magnetic fields. Connection, how is created between elements, be it in the body of the man, be it in the kidney of the man, be it in the liver of the man, be it in the galaxy, be it in the universe. And once the knowledge is expanded, and once the scientist, or what I call universal scientist, understand the work of the universe is similar to work of the body of the man, and body of the man, like every other animal, will see galaxies, for example, have certain areas which behave like kidney. We see in the structure of the universe collection of galaxies which behave like a heartbeat of the galaxy. In a way, when we look at the structure of the galaxies and the structure of the body of the man and the universe, all follow the same pattern. There is no difference, because magnetic fields cannot interact any other way. It's not a car that you can put the engine from the back to the front and put God knows something else and it'll be work. Fields, collection of fields, collection of plasmas which these fields make, automatically, due to the field strength and composition of the fields and different strength of the fields, and totally due to size of the amalgamation of the fields, at the end have to create the same structure. If it reaches the dimension of the physicality, it manifests itself. Galaxies, in a way, to the eye of the man we see in the universe, which is about 5% of what we see, is created that way. Our soul interacting with the field of this planet, at the start with the field of the womb of the mother, creates a structure of a memory pack where everything has to be kept and controlled, a place where it keeps the engine going for the physical part, a place where it rejects the extra material it absorbs from the environment, and a place where it grows, and the rest of it. So galaxies do the same. Galaxies start small and they grow to a size. They reach a point of maturity like we do. Man's point of maturity and physical separation of his central energy is 70, 80, 100 years. Galaxies is billions of years of the man. But in essence it's the same. We always said we eat 20% inside, and the other 80% comes from the environment, from cosmic rays and earth gravitational magnetic fields. So do the galaxy. They take energy from the universe. In the unicos, our universe takes energy from the unicos. But some of these energies cannot be absorbed, as not needed. But you have many organs. In the body of man, you have 50, 60 organs. In the universal systems like galaxies, you have billions of pieces which make organs. We call them each one a solar system, a star, and the rest of it. When we understand this, this makes the journey of the transmutation, traveling between universes, traveling between galaxies, traveling between solar systems, very interesting. In a way, if we realize the structure of a galaxy or a star is part of another system, we can hand over energy from one system to another. And if we rely on these pathways, we can be part of that energy transfer. This is how man will learn to travel from galaxies to galaxies, universes to universes. If he chooses the path of the transportation or transmutation. What does this mean? It means you find higher speed lines of connections and you join those higher speed connections. We know how to do it. We know how to connect to these fast lines. We do it every night we dream, but we never understood. We are dreaming. What you call your soul is traveling. And you're having a wonderful time. You're on, God knows, a galaxy or somewhere, sitting on the beach, and suddenly mom says, wake up, you got to go to school. What do? We don't come back all the way. We jump on these fast routes because we know where it comes. Yes, mom, I'm awake. This is what we know. We know the shortcuts, and we can use these shortcuts to extend what we call the speed and the dimension of the transmutation and transportation. We see this quite regularly, but world of science has never understood this. We see this in different lines of connections. They call it supernovas. They call it all sorts of names, but they look at how this structure blows up or whatever according to them, but they don't look at the magnetic field strength it produces and where does it go. We can create supernovas in our own transmutation and lock into a system. We see them, but we only look at them on the eye of the matter state. We don't look at them in the eye of the fields. We don't look at them in the eye of how magnetic fields in the universe interact. The dimension of our physicality has become an obstacle for us to concentrate to understand the dimension of the fields interactions. What this means? It means when we look at the structure, when we look at the galaxy, when we look at the universe, when we look at the structure of any system, even a man, we look at his physicality. What about if we learn to look at his soul? What about if we learn to see what's inside it? To see the true man, to see the real what we are dealing with. In a space we have to do this. We come across fields which have no physical dimension. We have to interact with what we call the physical interaction of the fields, the central field of it, what we call the soul of it. We have to understand the emotion of it. Has not taken the shape of physicality. Not at least in the dimension of our observation, but they exist. This is part of what I taught years ago. Now we come to it. We have to understand it now that we are at the point of transmutation. And then, if we understand this, then the whole world of science we've been taught turns upside down. We are told, as I said earlier, what we see in galaxies and the universes or whatever, or what we see in the dimension of the our universe, galaxies, and we see them colliding and the rest of it, and the total environment of this is about 5 or 10% of the universe, and the rest is empty, become nonsense. Every empty space has a soul. Every empty space in the universe has a dimension. And then we understand, due to our, again, physical dimension, if we don't see physically it doesn't exist, we find out that we have totally misunderstood the word of creation. We only see parts which are physical to our eye, and the rest of space is empty space according to our knowledge of today. But in fact, that empty space is not empty, it's full of life, but has no manifestation of physicality in dimension of us. Those who can see, they have the field strength to observe the universe in a different field strength, they see the universe full. Is there empty space between your lung and your heart? Is there empty space between your organs? Is there empty space in your brain? And that's the physicality of the man. How can that be in a condition of the galaxies and the universe? Then you understand, we still need to learn more. And we have learned, or we try to learn to understand about this 5 or 10% which they tell us is the universe and the rest is empty, to find out, to educate ourselves what's in that other 90%. How do we interact with that 90%? Because that's where most of the life of the universe is. If we change the field, the strength of our soul, would we see the empty parts as full? This will come to be a part of life of man in space. In empty space we travel is another life. In empty space we consider that there is nothing in the galaxy or in the universe, we are crossing another life. We're crossing another existence. We're crossing another field, magnetic field interactions. Just because we can't see, it does not mean that it doesn't exist. But in the structure of the life of the man, the way we produce these glasses that we can see actually the life in the dark, where we thought there is nothing, we can change the strength of our soul. That the rest of the universe become tangible to our existence. Then we respect the universe, we respect the life in any corner of this universe with respect. Then we understand where these extra energies which we take from the universe come from, which gives dimension of physicality to our physical life of man. There are no empty spaces in the universe. And once we learn this, once we understand this, we can amalgamate this knowledge with what we have, and then see how the whole structure works. Then we find out we have access to a knowledge which allows man to be able to travel, to move in any dimension in the universe and unicos. We have to learn this. We have to learn how to see the empty spaces of the universe. how to feel them, how to interact with them, how to respect them. And then with that process, we find new ways of movement, transmutation and transportation in any dimension. Mankind will learn this very quick. Now that we brought the dimension of transmutation, for you and many of you trying, and some of you succeeded in different ways, you'll find that you can change the dimension of the strength of your soul, that standing in front of even the mirror, you become invisible. But does it mean that when you reach that stage, that feel the strength, and the dog runs in the room, does it pass through you in the physical dimension? Doesn't see you. Is it aware of your existence? In the space technology, we achieve this. We change the fields. 1 second you see a craft, 1 second you don't see a craft, because we create a parallel strength field lines. Even still in the same position. Man has such a capability. Man has it within it. Always has it. Always had it. And now we have to learn that the field is strength. Many of you which go through the transmutation will start teaching you in the coming weeks how you can change your manifestation, your presence, and still be within the same environment. Those of you who managed to do it, because of the test of the last few weeks, we saw the graft. We saw some of you are ready for that position of transmutation to elevate the soul, that you don't need to travel, but you can be invisible to the eye of the man. Like the empty space of the galaxies, the empty space of the universe. Just because we don't see in them, it doesn't mean nothing exists. This brings you a new dimension, a new understanding. And in so many ways, maybe you understand when I speak, sometimes it shakes some of the world leaders, because when they sit in that room, they make that decision to do whatever, we are present. We are invisible. And this is the reason we decide, we know, we talk, we change, because we know, we see the soul in that meeting. We don't see the physicality, because we are part of what we call visual part of. Many times, when we explain something in the teachings directly to governments, those who sit in the seat of power are scared. How does he know? We are present at the level of the soul when that decision made. In a way, invisible. It's not just us who can do it. Every single one of you is a capability within a man. The reason for it is very simple. When you transmute somewhere in a space, in the universe, and many spaces, not just one specific point, the physical dimension of the physicality of the man has no dimension of visibility. But the soul exists. So you do exist. Just because you have no dimension of physicality, it's not like Earth that you die because you have no physicality. Your field strength is not in the dimension of visuality, observation of the other. But if we develop the system which can see the field strength of the plasma packages, what we call the souls, we will see this universe is jam-packed. So we can see the souls within the room, we can see the souls within the dimension. We don't spy upon, we are present as part of the line of the thoughts. It's the connection line, it's fast track, fast receiving of information, which man does not have. We know it, but we never understood it. I have taught you in the past how by changing your breathing, you can absorb energy from the universe and live. You do that with addition of ganses. Now you have to learn how to breathe with the field of the universe. That 80% which comes in and you have no knowledge of. And what you want to take from it according to the emotion. You strengthen the emotion of the travel, the expansion of the positioning. You position yourself. You increase the, what we call, absorption of the energy that can feed your physicality. You can do so. You extend the field emotion of repairing part of your body because you want to keep the dimension of physicality, do so. This is the beauty of what, as knowledge seekers, as the humanity, and those who have a dimension of physicality can learn and add to their knowledge. I wonder, once many of you learn this, many of you will ever see a car on the road. You learn to transmute direct. You do what you like. I go to the shopping center, I go to the shop, this is what I want. You manifest yourself. You don't steal, you pay with the dimension of physicality and then you move back. If you want to feed your dimension of physicality. Now we understand the science and technology of the universe is at the reach of every man. It's the man who has to understand how to connect to it, how to read the language, how to read the field strength, to understand that in this environment, in this position in the universe, there is life. It's a being. Just because I don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Then, once you understand this knowledge, once you understand this technology of life of the universe, transmutation and transportation becomes a game. It becomes part of your everyday life. Many of you knowledge seekers are ready for that position. Many of you knowledge seekers are moving to that position. And once one of you learns and wishes to share, you can transfer the knowledge to those who want to receive it. Those who want to be with you as a part of you. We want to go to a wedding. Four of you happy to go, one doesn't want to go. You know how to add the other three, and the four goes. You cannot force another soul not to come or to come. And then manifest at the point of wherever it's supposed to. In structure, there is no difference between physical manifestation and a plasma manifestation. In structure, in the work of the magnetic fields, there is no difference, because even a physicality is a collection of interaction of the fields which coordinates a movement. So is the same with the soul. You decide to go from the house to the office, and then the physicality has to make that move to get you there. Because you made the emotion of movement, you made the emotion of reaching a point. You can do the same with the emotion of the soul. You can leave the physicality in bed, reach the energy of the soul into the office, and do whatever it needs, manifest yourself there, and do the job and come back. You still exist in two places. If some of you don't understand this, in the last week teaching, I set the scene for this, that you understand. Body of the man has two halves, left and right. Now, the left is responsible to keep the manifestation of the physicality here, while the right is traveling somewhere. You dream. If you learn, if you understand, and if you're in control of it, you send that right side to the office. And in that office, the energy you transfer through the dimension of the soul of physicality can manifest itself as a second of you in a way the right side will manifest itself in the dimension of physicality in that time, place and position. This is a beauty with having a dimension of physicality, if you understand how you can use the energy fields with at the same time. This is how people are seen in two places at the same time. Now you know the secret. There is no magic. If you get good at it, you know which part to send best for what job. When you're meeting with a lover, you're too lazy to move from the bed, you send the right side because it controls the left side, which is with the emotion, and you're a perfect lover. When you're going to the office and the physical work to do, there is no emotion, you send the left side. Then, now you understand how it works, how you can manifest yourself in two places. But you have to learn about that spike, that increase of the energy to reach a bandwidth of the field strength to be able to do it. This is one of the reasons man always wakes up to the physicality. If you understand the field extension, you don't need to. And both physicalities, one in the office and one in bed, still do a perfect job. In this process, you use the emotion of the soul, which connects with the emotion of physicality. It is interesting in the other dimension to understand that those of you who have the beauty of being the beautiful people, you can be in places or 6 places at the same time. Because each soul has the capability of division of 2. Now you understand how this is important, because in the coming time, when you learn to transmute, you don't know what's going to be in planet Zeus, but you would like to try it. But you don't want to destroy the soul you made, your soul, your dimension of physicality. You control the side which is free to go. Planet Zeus, while you keep the physicality. This is what you do in the dream anyway. Now you understand the process of it. There is a secret how to do this. And those who understand it, they can do it very rapidly. The secret behind it is detachment. The secret behind it is understanding the process of the working of your physicality. The secret of it is to synchronize these together. And the secret behind it is to use it, not to harm. You can't send the other half to start a war in another place. You can't send the other half to another place to steal. You can't send the other half to do something wrong. The right and left has to be in perfect harmony. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not do anything wrong. Because if you do something wrong in the other side, there is no return. The field strength changes. And to be able to do that separation, yeah, I have taught you a lot of things in pieces. And in the world of science, we know these pieces, but we could never connect it. There is a gap. There is an instant that you can do it. You can create that instance, or you can bring that instance to harmony with the rest, and you can do what are called the split. Your physicality goes to sleep, or cycle of 4 hours. You can change that. Your breathing long left and right long has the same sequence. Your heart has the same sequence. Your intestines and the working of your physicality has that sequence. Your kidneys switch. You have to harmonize that all the sequences match to the left or to the right. Same time. You have to learn about your physiology. Which lung is at rest? Which lung is producing? Which lung is absorbing energies that during the working time is not absorbing because it's absorbing a higher order or lower order. The switch time. By creating a harmony in the soul of the man, you can create the harmony between the 2 parts of the man, and 1 part of the man can separate. This is where the soul feeds the physicality, and through its operation controls the physicality. This is the reason In the future, man understands why you have two sections of you. In a way, if you understand it, in the soul dimension, you have the two sections too. You have the fields which are going clockwise, and you have the fields which they go anti-clockwise. In the brain of the man, this separation of the two has become two hemispheres of the brain. Once the scientists of the man look at the structure of the physicality field flow within the brain, they will see two units working totally in opposite to each other in different sections, and move to different sections to harmonize, to keep the shape and the structure of the fields within the brain of the man, which they can interact with the soul of the man. This is not strange. This is not something which you don't see. As I said before, the soul of our solar system, the sun, goes anti-clockwise. The earth goes clockwise. The moon goes anti-clockwise. But they all work within a system. Now you understand. If you can harmonize the field flow, if you can harmonize the manifestation of the fields together with the soul of the man, you can split it into half. You have that privilege. In the future, I'll teach you more how to get to this. Today, we see the soul, or we sow the seed of the understanding. Understanding that you have that capability to be able to create that split, to create that separation, to create that dimension. This is important for those of you who go through transmutation. You like dimension of physicality, you travel in a spacecraft, and you reach to a point, you have a choice. You get in another craft to land, or you choose the dimension of what you call dreaming while you are physically existing. In a way, you have to learn more about yourself. In a way, you have to understand why everything is in two parts. In a way, you have to understand why you have only one intestine but two kidneys. Because the digestion and absorption of the energy from the environment needs one system, because once you have the soul, you can feed everything. But when you're in two parts, in two sections, each section has to operate on its own, to get rid of, to take what it needs, to control of. And then you understand more about how your field strength between two different parts creates the dynamic structure of your physicality. Why do you have two arms? Why do you have two legs? What happens with a worm, which is one straight body? No legs and no arms. How does the soul and a combination structure of the brain works? For a worm or for a man? Now you understand. In the world of creation, we see it. But now you need to put two worms next to each other to create the man. Man has never looked in understanding of the field structure of the, what I call animals with no arms and legs, and his own and other animals. Now we understand even the structure of the physicality of the plants. How does their soul works, and why they shoot up as one stem and then they break up branches. Once you understand the structure of the fields, once you understand the division of the fields, once you understand the emotion in respect to environment of the fields, then you understand man with his soul and physicality has many capabilities and capacities which he has not even explored. Sometimes those who learn a piece of it, understand part of it, to us looks like magic. But that's the same what any creature can do, you can do. Which means you have denied yourself to do it. But the knowledge is within. And it's the same. Transmutation, transportation, always has been with us. We move the body of the man in a bus. We move the soul of the man to another part of the universe through his field energy. Once you learn this, how to control the fields, how to create the dimension of the motion in different part of the physicality, you learn transmutation by division, but in a way to be in two places at the same time. It's not magic. It's not something undoable. We always do it, but you call it a dream. When you go and see the mom, you see yourself running with mom, biking with mom. What happened? How did you give it the dimension of physicality with mom there, but your body is still here? That half of the soul has moved on. The other half has stayed. Now you have to learn it to do it in the dimension of physicality. Then you understand. We open a new dimension in transmutation of the man. In a coming time, we build this in the systems on the monthly sessions. That in those sessions, you understand how to do this. Because you have two hemispheres in your brain, and your physical part has two completely separate parts. And field replication is part of this structure. Mirroring of physicality in two dimensions. You take half and the other half mirror itself, and you are physically two physical conditions, but connected internally through the dimension of the soul, connection of the fields, rapid expansion of the fields. We are setting our systems up for this in the next couple of months, that gradually we introduce this to those knowledge seekers who do the transmutation. And then we test it, and then you test it, and then we understand, and I show you in a graphs how two souls will create and move at the same time in two different positions. I hope you understood, and I hope you understand what is to come and what capabilities you denied yourself. Because when the other half moves in the space, you could be in the dimension of what you call it the empty space, but there is a soul. As you are in the dimension of the soul, you shall see it. You feel it, you interact with it. And at the same time, as when you're awake on this planet, you gain knowledge. In that position in the college, you gain knowledge from those who you meet, you interact with. in the dimension of the soul of physicality. And when you bring that knowledge back, because it's connected to the dimension of physicality when you're asleep, you call it enlightenment. In fact, you have learned outside in another classroom, in another part of the universe, something which on this planet we don't know. At the same time, it's not exclusive, you get enlightened. The knowledge you gained here in that communication, that point with another soul, you might enlighten that too. Which means that entity, that field, takes your experience in the dimension of physicality of the man on this planet. It's not all you taking. Energies interact, and stronger always gives to the weaker. It's the same, the knowledge you have is given to another entity, because he hasn't got that knowledge. And you take from that the knowledge you don't have in return. And you wake up in the morning, you do something new, you do something, you come during the day and you say, oh, I know something, I want to do something. But you don't see that the enlightenment was arrived last night when you were asleep. But the other half traveled. Now you understand how much knowledge is not exclusivity but inclusivity. It belongs to every entity in the universe. It depends, if you need it, you receive it. And now you understand why patent has no value. He cannot patent, because whatever knowledge a man has gained is a knowledge which is shared with the universe. Why does a man do this to himself? Is unthinkable. Maybe now you understand the future teaching. How we expand the knowledge, expand the interaction of the fields, but your dilemma is, and it will be till you sort it out, how you connect the emotion of the physicality with the emotion of the soul. And when you understand that, then you can transmute and be in the dimension of physicality at both times, in the same place, but understanding and gaining information and knowledge and whatever emotion collectively for the whole of the entity. I hope you learned something today, and I hope if you understand what I understand from this and I live by it, it brings a huge pleasures in the life of physicality.